So as we've been talking about augmented six chords, we've talked about a couple of them already. Let's go ahead and put those back out. So we have Italian, which is Italian augmented six, right? Which you can abbreviate as IT plus 6, like that. Okay, we had the French augmented 6, French augmented 6, which looks like this, FR plus 6. And we have one more that we're going to talk about today, but let's go ahead and write these out again. Okay, so again, we had the flat 6 on the bottom, the flat 6 on the bottom. The Italian had a 1 in the middle, and the French did as well. The French had a 2, and then they both had sharp 4 on top. Okay? Sharp 4, sharp 4. Okay, and we saw that they could resolve to a, they could either go to a 1, 6, 4 chord, or they could go to a 5 chord. Okay, and same thing here, a 1 chord, a 1, 6, 4 chord, or a root position 5 chord. Okay, either one is okay. Okay, so the next one we're going to talk about is, put lines here, we're going to talk about the German augmented 6 chord, the German. You can abbreviate this one as GR or GER plus 6. Okay, I personally like GER for some reason. I know all the other ones are 2 letters, but that just makes me feel better. That's not, because otherwise if it's like this, you might think it's like GRA or something, like, I don't know, whatever you like. Okay, German augmented 6. Again, we're going to use the skeleton found in the Italian, so we're going to keep those notes the same. We're going to use a flat 6. We're going to use a sharp 4 on top, because that's our augmented 6. We need that, or else it wouldn't be an augmented 6 chord. We have a 1, and instead of a 2, we're going to use a flat 3. A flat 3. Okay? So if you were to write this out, it gets really simple. All we have to do is put our treble clef. We're going to do it in the key of C again. Our flat 6, let me go ahead and write these out just for fun. So flat 6, flat 6, flat 6. Let me give myself a little room here. A 1. Everyone has a 1. Take your 1. Get your 1. Everyone take a 1. Maybe you'll double the 1 here. I'm trying to keep the color coding here really nice, so it's really easy to see. I know these can get a little confusing with all the random notes that we're throwing in. This is going to have a flat 3, and then they all have that sharp 4 on top. Sharp 4. Okay, so these are how you make the Italian, French, and German chords, and then we'll see how the German chord resolves. Okay, maybe off to the side here, something like that. Okay, so you have your German now. Your German sounds like this. Okay, that might sound really familiar. You might say, hey, I've heard that kind of sound before. Where have I heard that before? And you can pause the video and try to figure that out, but you might drive yourself insane, so I will tell you now. Imagine, if you will, if you had the same chord, but the top note is spelled differently. So you had A, C, E flat, and then you had G flat on top. Okay, so with this chord, this is A flat dominant 7. So a German chord and a dominant 7 sound very, very similar, right? They sound like they're the same chord. However, you might say, well, what's the difference then? The difference is in how they resolve, okay? If you had a dominant 7th chord, your 7th has to resolve down, so you would just put the G flat, G flat going to an F. The E flat might stay, the E flat would also go down here. And we end up making a D, and the A flat would stay A flat, right? Oh, I'm sorry, this would change to a D flat. Here we go. And then this note would also go up because it's the 7th resolving up in the key of D flat. So this is like a 5 chord, oops, D flat. This is like a 5 chord or a 5-7 chord going to a 1 chord, okay? But we end in D flat. We end in D flat. Okay, so that's how you would do a 5-7 to a 1 chord here. If this was a dominant 7th chord, you would probably go to D flat. You could also go to like the minor instead and do a deceptive cadence, but let's move on and not talk about that. You could do other things, but imagine if you were to go here. Okay, so let's take a look at our German chord. Let me go ahead and reassemble that really quick. Reassemble. We got the flat 3. We got the 1. Writing top to bottom, but that shouldn't matter. And we got the A flat. Okay, so remember we've gone to D flat with the same chord. Okay, so let's go ahead and see where this goes. Okay, so if we were to resolve this down and this up, we were to get, which we should do, right? This would turn into G and G, which is fine. Okay, the 1 will probably go down to B here. The C will go down to a B, 1 to a 7th scale degree, right? And the E flat will go down to D. Flats usually resolve down. Okay, sharps go up, flats go down. If you look here, the flat stays the same, flat goes down, right? But now where are we? Everyone look where we are now. If you look where we are now, this chord is now a G chord. We're now in the key, or we now go to a G major chord. So the cool thing is, with the same chord, you can go to a completely different place. You can go in from an basically the same sound as a dominant seventh chord. Instead of going to D flat, you can go to G. If you remember our circle of fifths put G here, and C sharp was like over here, right? They're exactly polar opposites. In fact, I believe they are, right? So if you went G, D, A, E, B, F sharp, and C like that, that's if this is and then C is here, right? So C and F sharp were polar opposites, right? Because you have 0 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so 1 and 7, or in this case, you could argue it's still 6 away. This is a very far way to go. So you can actually get like a tritone away. Usually, if you're in the key of C, you want to go to one of these two places, or maybe the relative minors, right? But in this case, if you go to G major here, you can actually jump across the whole circle of fifths. Use this kind of a wormhole effect and go through and get to your tritone. So imagine if you had a chord progression. There we go, a chord progression, and you wanted to go like 1, 4, 5, 1, right? And so you're in here, and then maybe you're in the key of D flat, and your 5/7 chord isn't just an A flat dominant 7, right? And your D flat is here. Maybe this would be what, G flat, right? And then this is another D flat. So you do this forever. You do this chord progression forever. Maybe this is your verse. Maybe this is also your chorus. You do this forever, forever, forever. And then eventually for your bridge, maybe you want to spice things up and get things really crazy. So you still do the 1, you still do the 4, you do this, but now it's going to be spelled as a German augmented 6. But people don't know that you're changing your game here, okay? They don't know that you've changed the G flat into an F sharp, okay? And now all of a sudden you end up going to G, and they're like, how did we get to G? And you say, German, duh. We just used the German augmented 6 chord. Now we're in G. And then that's your 5 chord maybe, and then you resolve to C. Now you're a half step away. You've gone down a half step, which is kind of cool, right? So these are different ways you can utilize the German augmented 6 chord to really make your music more interesting. Okay, so good luck with the German augmented 6 chord. I'll see you in the next video.